Hey guys, welcome to chapter 1 of Appleskin's CAW series. We'll start off by discussing about this robot here. This is a mecha robot originally bought online specifically for this tutorial. We'll check some of his controls here. It's quite heavy due to its high mesh and my laptop configuration. It's got a spear with an alien blade on top of it, which we will use in the later part of the tutorial as a weapon he uses to spell destruction. The shaded mode of this alien robot looks pretty cool, industry level high quality texturing which can be used both for games and feature films. There are a tons of characters online for animators to buy at reasonable prices with all extended licenses. Since the high-res model is quite heavy, we won't be using this to animate in the viewport. Instead we'll be using this proxy model which we have at our disposal for easy viewport movements. We can check the rig now with this model, and while taking playblasts we can use the high-res model because whatever animation data is saved in the proxy model will also be saved in the high-res model of it. Okay guys, let's move on to see the 2D panels that I prepared for the shot. Before discussing this, I should tell you that I am not a 2D guy, so my drawings are not at its finest, but while I animate, these thumbnails are enough for me to get a rough idea of what I want. Here are the poses. As you can see, the drawings are quite rough, but you'll get the idea. The character here will fly and enter into the scene this way, and it'll land in a quite heroic stance here, as you can see. These are the same poses here, but at a different angle. But instead of the landing stance here, I prefer to use this particular one, which I like the most because it's got the attitude, the focus, and it's like he's kind of ready for the fight. So yeah, we're going to be seeing this for every now and then. I try to memorize the poses from the drawing so that I don't have to keep them watching over and over again, but we'll still need to keep an eye on it. Moving on to my viewport, let's create a ground plane just so that we have something to place the character. I'll add some subdivisions to it, or because we might need something, later on to extrude something or create something out of it. Not necessary at all, but something I do before starting out the scene. Alright, that looks fine for now. Checking the preferences, we'll start off by blocking in step mode, which is often a part of my workflow. Most people I've seen this workflow, I've seen use this workflow started by step mode and then work their way into splining it. Other workflows also include starting out with linear because it kind of helps them skip a step and keep an eye on the movement and the gimbal locks that might occur during the posing. Yeah. Alright, then we're ready with everything. Let's start working in the scene. The trajectory of the flight will be something like this. If we go on the side view of this, I'll use my mouse to draw a kind of a curve that we need to understand how the flight would occur. So it's basically he's going to come flying from the left side and he's going to land right there. Oh, I'm going to pose a character to start out on the first pose here. Select the main control and moving up here. Rotate him a little bit just to kind of give him the direction of where he's going to land. We're going to tweak this, later on if we need to bring him down in the y-axis or whatever, but right now we just get a very rough idea of how we're going to make him land. So this is kind of like the trajectory how he's going to land, Alright. So let's go ahead and key some of the very simple, create a layout of it. Just key the first. You can go ahead and key there, or you can just go to animate and set a key. Pretty simple. In the beginning of the workflow, while layouting a certain shot, I don't worry much about the timing right away, so I just place the character in the T-pose according to the path that I just drew earlier. And also remember to keep the auto key on, because whenever we change the pose or move the character in the viewport, it's automatically going to save that information. So it's kind of very important. Now we need to rotate him since he's going to stop there. That's going to be the hang time for him. I kind of keep the details to the minimum while layouting, because I don't have a specific approved storyboard for this shot. I have to do everything from the scratch, so I have to improvise and work through the whole process along with you. But this is more fun. Now that we have our flight path layout, let's go ahead and start working on the rig to create definition for the poses. I kind of remember the movies like Transformers or Iron Man while animating shots like this. And also, if you have seen the sky jumpers or the sky divers, you will see a pose something like this where their head, hands, and leg tend to move up as they are falling down with great speed, and their belly becomes kind of like the most weighted part, along with it kind of acts like a center of gravity. So yeah, I'm trying to get that. While creating the pose, I make sure they are correct, but it's not necessary, as I will come back later at some certain amount of time and I'll amend the pose if necessary according to the scene later on. But yeah, try to kind of make it correct to a point where it looks meaningful and convincing. Don't make it too weird, as it will create problems in understanding the motion later on. Maybe record yourself in that pose and try to get that as a reference. It really doesn't matter how you achieve that pose. The correct pose has to be there. Alright, this looks okay. I'm going to keep it like this, and we'll come back if I need to make changes later on. So here, these poses need to change as they are hang poses. Maybe not hang pose, that doesn't sound good. Let me say slow down pose. Okay. So yeah, his hands are up here because he'll be holding the spear up high. Once I start defining the poses, you will understand what I'm trying to draw here. The drawings are going to be pretty rough, let me tell you that. Okay, we haven't created a selection set. Let's do that. Selection sets are always important because while working with keys, we need to make sure every control is keyed, and that every control is keyed in the right frame. As I have already created one, I'll go ahead and select this and right click and delete that. Alright. So that now we have all our layout poses done, let's go ahead and key every control there, selecting the shelf button there and pressing the key along the timeline. Alright, that looks good. Now that we're done with the layout poses, we can kind of give definition to all the poses that we have here. Like, for instance, this air pose, or the slow down pose here. Move his legs a little bit up front, just so we can see that he's going up and kind of slowing down. Try to put his hand in front so that he's kind of use his thrusters to slow down from the momentum of the flight and basically land there. We can always come back and tweak these poses later on if we don't feel that the poses are working right, or we can make a change to make it look better. But yeah, we need to try to make it as convincing as possible. Let's key that. Alright, let's go ahead and fix this pose as well. This is going to be the hang time pose. Right after he slows down, there's going to be a few seconds of him actually ease in that motion before the fall, so that ease in is known as the hang time. Okay, looks like we need to fix his leg, as he will land on his left foot, so we need to put the left foot up front here. Let's adjust the head pose here a little bit, kind of make him look down.